touches a nose boop to the palm of our hand, we can use this as a way to get our dog focused on us, or even as a way to redirect them away from something.
Yes, good boy. Sit. Yes. Down. Yes. Sit. Yes. Down. Yes. Good.
For come when called, we're going to yell his name and then come. As soon as he turns and faces us, we're going to mark yes and start praising him all the way to us, and then he gets a treat. You can practice in a fenced-in backyard, or you can also take this to advance it out into the front yard with a long leash and practice as well. If he doesn't respond right away, you want to try by making another noise. You can even try making your name call of his, like more sing-songy, like a Henry. And then as soon as he turns and looks, you're going to mark yes and praise, and reward. Place means go there, lay there, and stay there until released. Here we are working in a formal training session where I'm practicing some distance as well as duration between reinforcement and some small distractions like opening doors, sitting down, making noise, running past him, jumping, dropping things. You can see here when I drop something, he gets up, so I send him back and I don't give him a treat, and I do it again. He gets up and I do it again, and then he stays and I reward that. So if he gets up and you didn't release him with his word free, then you're simply going to send him back and start and keep going, but you're not going to reward right away. So if I send him back and it was because he got up when I tried a different distraction, then I'm going to send him back, not reward, do the thing again. So just like you're seeing here, I'm squatting down, I send him back, I don't reward, and I do it again until he can hold the stay, and then I reward that, and then we're going to use that free word to release. Here we are continuing to practice place, but in a real context, which is dinner time. Henry has made such big improvements. Is doing a really great job. You'll see here that we have a new dog here that's learning, and so this dog is up quite a bit and moving around, and even with the distraction of the humans moving around and getting things settled for us to sit down and another dog walking around, Henry is holding his place. So in this video, because there is a new dog here, you will see that I'm rewarding Henry a little bit more frequently than I would if he was by himself. So prior to this new pup coming, we had a couple days with just Henry after Craig left, and we were practicing and he was great. And I was able to really space out the duration between reinforcement. But with this other dog here that doesn't know place and that is moving around, I was rewarding him a little bit more. And that's because there is a bigger distraction. So while he's doing really great in kind of the training settings or just him while we sit down and eat dinner, and we can space that treat out, when there is a higher distraction, so if you're practicing this with another dog that's moving around, or you're outside, or some other kind of big distraction, then you're going to up your reinforcement again, because now we've added another level of difficulty. And you're going to up that level of reinforcement until you slowly fade it away, just like you did before in kind of the more boring, plain settings. And then over time, he'll be able to do it at all without as much reinforcement. But I did up it for this situation because there is another dog there. And you'll see that he does get up a few times, but I send him right back and he does great with that. But overall, I was really proud of how he handled having this other puppy moving around so much. This was this puppy's first session, so he's obviously not staying very well and moving around a lot. And so it was great to see that Henry could still stay even with another dog moving around him. Wait means stop and don't go any further. So when we say wait, we're drawing an imaginary line and saying you cannot go any further, but you can sit down, stand, or even walk back the opposite direction. You can just not go any further or cross this line. So here I'm practicing on the stairs, so you can practice so that he's not tripping you going up and down stairs. And then when I want him to follow with me, I can say free to release him. If I'm not going to let him go out, kind of cross that line, like in this scenario where we're going to go out the door, then I never have to use that release word free, because I'm not allowing him to kind of cross that line I drew. That you only need to release it if you're going to do that, like you're going to let him go out the door, or when you're going up and down stairs in that kind of situation. So here we're practicing wait while I water some plants and just kind of hang out on the front porch just to see if he can hold that duration. And then when we come back in, we shut the door and reward. Make sure that when you're practicing, you always shut the door first and then reward, so that you don't have a dog that either door dashes out or that takes the food and runs. So always shut the door first before rewarding. Here's another real scenario, and a great way to remind yourself to practice wait is when you have a package at the door. Here we're practicing where I'm going to have him wait as I go up the stairs, and then I'm going to kind of go into another room, and I'm not really doing anything in particular, but this is to mimic, right, those real situations where you might want to go do something and you don't want him to follow you. And he could stand. You can see he's allowed to move around as long as he doesn't go any further, which is come up those stairs, and then I'm going to reward him. And another time would be anytime you're going to take him out for a walk, you can ask him to wait at the door. And when you're ready, you're going to release him. If he starts to go towards the door, you can see I just simply stepped in front of him, and we start over. We say wait again, open the door, and then say free when we're ready for him to go out the door. Leave it means back away from the thing that you were going towards. So here we're practicing with food dropping. This is a real scenario where you might drop something in the kitchen that's dangerous. Medicine, grapes, chocolate. And you want to be able to say leave it, and they back away so that you can get those things away from them safely. So you can practice with just dropping some treats. Here I'm practicing a spilled item, so it's a lot of little treats, again, to mimic those real life situations. Drop it means let go of the thing that is in your mouth.
Yes.
So we're going to say drop it. As soon as he lets go, we'll mark yes and reward him. In real life, you don't often have the treats on you, so you want to make sure you're prepared to do that praise party to the treat jar to get him his cookie. We want to make it really worth his time so that he knows letting go of items is worth it and that he will do it for safety reasons. All right, so I'm out on a walk with Henry. We're going to kind of just talk to you about what it looks like walking with him. So you can see he walks pretty nice most of the time. And how we're kind of building this is by what we call rewarding good choices. Yes. So when he's walking the way we want him to, so he's walking at our side or even slightly in front, but that leash is still loose, we're going to mark yes and reward. Good boy. With a little dog like this, it can be a lot harder just because you're trying to reach down there. So your other option, big truck, it's all right, good boy. Your other option when rewarding good choices for Henry, because he is lower to the ground, instead of handing it to him, you can mark yes and kind of toss the treat a little in front of him. So it kind of keeps him moving a little bit forward, but also still able to reward him. So we're going to just be rewarding those good choices, walking nicely next to us, and keep him going. Yes, I'm going to reward him for looking at me. Ooh, those treats aren't going very far in front right now because of the wind. Henry, right here. There you go, bud. There we go. But he's walking much better. He's gotten a lot more used to the leash. He still doesn't like it if there's any kind of tension on the leash. Yes, good boy. There we go. He doesn't like any kind of like tugging, so you just gotta be really careful that you're not putting too much pressure and that you're letting that leash stay nice and loose. But as you can see, he really enjoys training, so he enjoys these walks, knowing that he could get rewarded kind of at any moment. So as you're rewarding those good choices, you're just gonna slowly wean off of them as he gets better and better at walking, knowing that when you're in more distracting environments, yes, like at the park, or you take him kind of more into a city type area, that you're just going to need to up your reinforcement while he's young, because those places are more distracting, whereas on a neighborhood walk he might need less and less reinforcement, and over time we'll wean off the reinforcement in those more exciting places as well, but they are on their own kind of timelines. Let's go. Sometimes he needs a little cheerleading to move on. He's not a fast-paced walker by any means. He likes to take a nice stroll and go at his own pace. Yes, good boy. Come on. Good boy. But doing so much better, has gotten so much more used to the harness and a leash in general. And so he's really, really quite pleasant to walk. You just have to expect that it is going to be a slower pace walk compared to your other dogs, because he's little and he's got a small stride and he just likes to take his time, at least right now. As he gets older, he might pick up his walking energy a bit, but yes. If we are working on rewarding those good choices like he is doing now, we shouldn't have to worry about addressing any kind of pulling behavior, because we've already taught him from the beginning what it means to walk with us on leash, and pulling has not been an option with him from the beginning. Yes, good boy. Good boy. You're so good. You're a good boy, Henry. Distractions, you see some things. Yes, Good boy. So if he gets distracted, see something that's a little bit much, you can let him watch it for a little bit. And when you're ready to kind of go, you can still mark it, especially if he seems a little scared by it. Yes! Right? Because what we're teaching him in that moment is that seeing new things, new stimulus in the environment is actually a cue to check in with us so that we can let him know what to do. If this is something he should be worried about, shouldn't be worried about. Yes! Good boy. So just like that moment right there, he saw some people and their cars are moving, they're pulling out of their driveway, and instead he looked back at me, right, to check in, and he's watching. And I'm gonna let him kind of check it out a little bit. Yes. And then when he looks back at me even, I can reward that as well. Good boy. So this is kind of walking with Henry. He is, like I said, very pleasant to walk. It's just going to be continuing this while slowly fading out how much reinforcement he needs, and also building up the time that he can even take a walk. Right now, he still prefers a little bit shorter walks than he does any kind of longer walk. So, yes, good boy. Good boy, Henry. Good boy. Nice job, buddy. And that's a wrap on Henry's training.